Red Polly, Dusty, Blue Poncho, Tupac.
Gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Frisky, Risky Betting and Fantasy Podcast with the boys. We are the boys, the hosts, Tyler Z, and of course, the man with the bets, Willy P. We have a good show for you. I'm excited.
We do.
I'm excited. The playoffs are starting. Willy P, the playoffs. Your team made it. My team blew the first pick in the draft. So we are on very opposite sides this week of how happy we are. But what do you think? Do you think Denver has any chance to take down the Bills this weekend?
Well, good morning. It's good to see you. Happy New Year. It's been a while. Feels like this. I don't know. I don't even remember last time I saw you.
We had a
good extended vacation. I think everyone needed one. I'm not saying me and Tyler were at each other's throats, but I think I was at my throat, at everyone else's throat. That wasn't Tyler. So it was a good extended vacation for sure. But I feel good. I was at a crossroads with the Broncos in terms of who I wanted them to play, because it was either go to Buffalo or go to Baltimore. And everybody, if you've ever seen the Broncos play in Baltimore, that just doesn't go well. So it's kind of like a weird little, I don't know, lesser of two evils. But I'm just hoping it's not like -10 in Buffalo, and we see these Buffalo fans with their shirts off, like throwing snowballs at us every time they score a touchdown. I hope it's like a nice 30. I don't know. Either way, I think we have a chance. I mean, there's always a chance. It's the NFL, but I have a hard time believing the Broncos will win. We've had a great season. Our win total was 5.5, and we won 9 games. So, can't be too upset. And it's nice to end the second longest playoff drought in the NFL. So,
it's we talked a little bit about this prior to coming on here yesterday. We were preparing for the show, but I think Patrick Surtain is going to obviously do what Patrick Surtain does for you guys. The it factor is going to be Josh Allen, man. If you guys can contain him, then you have a chance. But if you let him run, when nothing's open, then you guys are toast.
You know who threw one more touchdown pass this year than Josh Allen? Bo Nix. Give Bo Nix the MVP. Everybody's saying Josh Allen should be the MVP. I will say, and I know you're a Lamar guy because you went to Louisville. That MVP race, they've already cast all the votes because I think they had to cast them by this week because they always do it right before the playoffs start. But Lamar these last couple of weeks has made a very solid case as to why he should win 3 in a row.
He has more rushing yards, more passing yards, and less interceptions, I think, or a better touchdown.
Yeah.
Or more touchdowns and less interceptions, I think.
Yeah. And I feel like the public loves Josh Allen this year. But
they do. Now, arguably, Lamar also has more weapons, I would say.
100%. Oh, 100%. And he doesn't even really have that many weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got like Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers, but Zay Flowers just loves to.
Well, and then he's got when you talk about someone like Derrick Henry behind him that the defense has to scheme for, so they you have to kind of pick and choose here and there. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens.
It's weird. And Surtain's favorite to win. He's a big favorite now. Like last week, he was like -250. Now he's like -550. I'm pretty sure. But to win Defensive Player of the Year, which is pretty remarkable. I thought it was maybe going to be Trey Hendrickson since he's leading the league in sacks on the Bengals. But
do you think? Because Lamar's won it before, it's going to put him at a disadvantage?
People love to do that. They do that with my boy Nikola Jokic, dude. Every year that dude could win the MVP. He's like LeBron back in the day. At least right now, the past 5 years. Nikola Jokic should have 4 MVPs, but they gave 1 2 years ago to freaking Joel Embiid as a sympathy MVP, and now that dude can barely get off the freaking bus. So, the recency bias it's almost the opposite in sports with MVPs except in like the real world where I feel like recency bias plays a big role. Well, now it's like, oh, he's already won 2. He doesn't need another one. It's like, well, this is arguably the best season he's had in his MVP season, run. Yeah. And I don't think he's going to – I think the public has been too on Josh Allen all year, which sucks. I think Lamar should win it, but
Listen, we'll just do this. We won't give Lamar the MVP, but he gets a Super Bowl ring.
that'd be
How
cool.
about that? He'll be
As long as
happy
it's
with
not
that. He'll
Mahomes
be
and the
fine.
Chiefs. I can't be here in a month with you and to be talking Chiefs again. But
If we are,
we'll
we're
see.
turning this show into a basketball only show.
We're gonna get really into baseball this summer
Yeah,
and just become a baseball betting podcast because that God. But
that's
yeah,
right.
we'll.
Oh God,
Speaking
brutal.
of bets, you sent me the
Ooh,
numbers
we
of
got
how
some
the
numbers.
algorithm this year, and it's I'm sure people have been waiting to hear, and you're gonna want to hear these numbers because they're pretty juicy. I'm gonna let the numbers man take this away.
Yeah, listen. So, as our loyal listeners and predictors, loyalists know, we put up free bets every week on the website. They scroll across the top at the ticker. And now that we are through the regular season, we wanted to share a couple of the numbers on the type of money you could have made if you listened to us. So, overall, um, this is every bet that our algorithm has ever come out with. These are not the ones that are just put on the website, by the way. The ones put on the website, we pick that we have to have a confidence level that's high enough to go onto the website. So the overall bets, 56.4%. So what does that tell me? 53% is break even. Anything over that is making money. So if you took every bet we've ever come up with, that includes all the ones that are very risky to the ones that are very frisky. You'd have a 56. You'd still be in the positive. Now the ones we put on the website, pop that up to in the 60s, 62% confidence level on those. So, 74% confidence is 62% correct. So you're making money now. That's what we like to hear. So let's jump into a little bit more of the specifics, Willy P. Willy P, when it comes to individual prop bets, right? Because that's what we love, because that's what our data speaks to. If you just bet on our passing yard bets, so the ones that we come out for passing yards, we have a 73.3% accuracy. You're making money.
It's a lot of bread,
buddy. That's not just like over a few weeks. That's like the full season, guys. So it is consistent. If you just bet on our receptions, so number of receptions for receivers, you're at 60.7%. And then rushing yards, nothing can be perfect. Rushing yards for QBs, which we do, is right at 50%. So right there. Now, if we break that down even more and we look at passing yards, over under. So if you do our passing yards, just the overs of passing yards, you're at 76.9%. So that's just the overs, 76.9%. Receptions, just the overs, 62.2%. And then rushing yards, the unders actually do better. If you do rushing yards, just the unders, 57.1%. So now
if I could interject really quick, I will say, looking at that unders for QB rushing yards, I didn't take as many as I would have liked to, seeing that number now.
Yeah.
But that, in terms of, as you know, I'm a big trends guy, and as everyone that listens knows, I'm a big trends guy. That is what makes a lot of sense to me and stands out to me, and I will remember that for next year, just because it seemed like, at least with, I'm thinking of Bo Nix and Russell Wilson. Whenever they would have a good rushing game, they do it for like 2-3 games going over, and then all of a sudden it would just peter down for like 4 games. So just keep that in mind, people. It's a good. I guarantee you that number will be even higher next year. I can feel it.
Yep. No, and we're only getting better with the bets. We're still we're tweaking these algorithms to give give everyone the best that we can. So just a last number I will give you. If you only bet on our receptions and passing yards with odds greater than or equal to minus 130, meaning that you didn't take the chance on the ones that were, minus 170, but you did anything minus 130 or in the, after that, or in the pluses, right? So even the harder bets, the riskier bets, right? Plus 110, whatever it may be, that we came out with, just receptions and passing yards. your rate of return would be 22.5%.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Which, higher than the stock market there, bud. The stock
Yeah,
market gives you
that's
10%
crazy.
annually. You'd be at
Yeah.
22%. You'd be sitting pretty. So that's just to say, guys, the only reason we read those numbers is because we prove to you that we're not just sitting here as another betting show talking out of our ass. The bets that go up on our website are legitimately, they come from our proprietary algorithms, and they'll make you some cash. So
Yeah.
keep following that. We're always going to be putting that stuff up for the NFL. And a little teaser, we're working on for next year getting you even more types of prop bets. So other positions, sacks, defensive prop bets, as well as like anytime touchdowns. I know Willy P has been calling me asking for a freaking anytime touchdown algorithm because that's his bread and butter. So he wants something to prove his up against because Willy P likes to battle the algorithm. So we are going to be coming out with those, and we'll start looking at some NBA stuff as well. So we're excited. Yeah. We're excited to bring you what we can here. And with that, Willy P, we move. We got the playoffs here this week. We're super excited. We are going to continue giving you guys bets. But as we continue on here today, proving to you that we're making you money, I'm going to pass this over to Willy P because Willy gave you a lot of future bets early this season. And so he's going to do the rundown of where those sit.
Yeah, while we're on the topic of reflection, doing this prep for this yesterday and just doing this whole segment of just reviewing how my future bets did that I told you to take in, I think it was like early August, whatever, long time ago. Looking at some of these lines now, obviously hindsight is 2020 and we all know what happened now, but the fact that Derrick Henry's rushing TDs total was only 10.5 and it was plus money at one point, and when I told you to take it, it was plus 100, is ludicrous because that obviously hit by a mile. He ended with 16. That dude for a long time, I think it was until like week 14 or something like that, or maybe it was like 30. Anyway, for a very long time there, he had every game he had at least one touchdown for the Ravens, and obviously he has been not revitalized since leaving the Titans, but he looks like he has obviously found his forever home in Baltimore. And
I'd call it revitalized.
Yeah. Anyway, so he ended with 16. That cleared by a mile. I hope people put a lot of money on that because you could have easily doubled your money with barely lifting a finger. The next one, which I think a lot of people felt really good about, I know I did. I know we talked about him a lot for fantasy football, and a lot of people were saying he was going to be the number 3 guy off the board, and also a lot of people thought the New York Jets were going to be one of the best teams in the NFL this year, and we all know what happened there. And that was Breece Hall, 1,000-plus rushing regular season rushing yards, and this was minus 140. This did not hit. He only had 876 and 5 touchdowns. Obviously, I felt pretty good about that bet, and I think a lot of people did as well, especially with Vegas giving a line of minus 140. You can't win it all, but again, this just shows you some of these lines. They seem very easy, and they're not. But either way, we're 1-1 right now. The next one, and the one that I told you, your mother, and your cousin to put the house on, just put your dog on it, whatever you can put on it. Terry McLaurin, over 875.5 receiving yards. The dude, I told you, has had 5 straight years where he's cleared this line. He's gone for 1,000 yards in 4 years straight leading into the season. And what did we talk about, Tyler? Oh, he finally has a quarterback that can throw him the ball. Finally has a QB. What did the dude do? He went freaking ballistic, and he hit it again. So I will be most likely. I'm sure next year now that line will be closer to 1,000, but I still might even take it. And again, and I didn't tell people to take it this year, but Mike Evans, he's like a young Mike Evans, because that dude, as you saw in Week 18, with a little screen pass for 5 yards, tied Jerry Rice's record for the most 1,000-yard seasons in a row at 11.
Ballsy, by the way, because had that gone horribly wrong with a pick or a fumble, the game could have changed.
Yeah. It could have, but it didn't. And Mike Evans is a dog, and don't ever forget that because that dude is an animal. Anyway, Terry McLaurin over receiving yards for the regular season. Cash, we're 2-1. This one I was a little more surprised about, and I was tracking it for a lot of the season and then kind of forgot about it. But it was Jalen Hurts under 9.5 rushing TDs. He ended with 14. Kind of a miss, kind of not. As we talked about a lot this year, we thought Saquon would be taking a lot more of that workload. He obviously has, but Philly will never, I don't think, ever get away with the Philly special with Jalen Hurts. So I will never be touching any line like that ever again for future, just because I really thought I had Vegas on that one. But that's how it goes. The next one, Amon-Ra St. Brown over 7.5 receiving TDs. This was minus 128. This also seemed very low. That's why I told you to take it, and we exploited it. That cash by a mile. He finished with 12 in the regular season. I bet he's going to have another 5 this postseason once they go to the Super Bowl. Amon-Ra, obviously.
They have to because their defense is torn
they
apart.
have to. And I know some people don't like Amon-Ra St. Brown as much because they consider him a slot merchant, and obviously slot wide receivers get a lot more targets in some offenses. But that dude's a dog, and he finds the end zone, so I don't care, and it hit. So we're 3-2. Next one, another one that seemed a little risky at the time because we didn't really know what he was going to do with this Commanders offense, but we obviously now know, and he's a stud. And I wish Bo Nix would win Rookie of the Year, but it's going to be Jane Daniels. He's just done it for too long. There could be like a runner-up award for that. It would obviously be my boy Bo Nix, but it's okay. We're going to win a playoff game instead. Jane Daniels over 16.5 passing TDs at minus 118. He finished with 25. 4-2 for that, at least for the player props.
I actually love that he's going to win Rookie of the Year because what did we say preseason, Willy P? We said Jaden Daniels is going to be the best rookie quarterback out of this class.
We did say that.
We said Caleb Williams, all these people that are riding Caleb Williams, it ain't going to be him even with all of his weapons.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels is going to come out and do what Jaden Daniels does. And
dude's a hooper.
Here we are.
Dude's a hooper. And I just saw a mock draft last night that he's going to from some dude, I forget his name, but he's thinking that the Commanders are going to draft Emmanuel Egbuka from Ohio State, who's a stud. That'd be crazy. If they get that dude more weapons, who knows what's going to happen? Obviously, they got to stout up that defense a little bit, but we'll see. Anyway, this next one, I did gamble. I gambled on him getting gambled on by Rashad Khan and the Jacksonville Jaguars, and that was Trevor Lawrence over 3,775.5 passing yards for the year. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence did not finish the season. Mac Jones was playing, he got hurt, yada, yada, yada. I totally gambled on him getting paid and hoping him to have a breakout season and proving everyone right or wrong, thinking that he wasn't worth all that money. Obviously, the Jaguars had a pretty disappointing
season. It's a tough one due to the injuries that the Jaguars sustained.
Not
just to him himself, but even their wide receiving core, everything.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing with futures. It's not a guarantee. That's what makes them fun when you hit them. That's where the odds are always pretty good. But that was minus 112. He finished with 2,045 passing yards. Obviously, whatever. Next one, Lamar Jackson. This also seemed free. I don't know when these lines makers are going to figure out that Lamar Jackson is like a horse and can run whenever he wants. But Lamar Jackson over 725.5 rushing yards for the year. Ended with almost 1,000. Okay. 915. Okay. We ended 5-2. Not bad. Or 5-3, excuse me. I forgot about these ones too. I forgot. I had 2 more on the back page for player props. This one, Maserati Marv, I definitely bought into the hype and told you to take him at plus 150 for most rookie receiving yards on the year. We talked about this yesterday, Tyler. Who got number 1? Oh, that's right. The man out of Louisiana, Brian Thomas Jr. Dude's a dog. I traded for Brian Thomas Jr. and we can go back and clip this. I traded for him about, I think, week 6. Traded Garrett Wilson for him in a standard scoring league and was like kind of worried about it, but he was starting to catch a lot of touchdown passes. And look at us now. That trade helped me make the playoffs, and I almost made the finals.
If he comes from Louisiana, he's probably top in the NFL.
Pretty good at catching footballs for sure. Marvin Harrison obviously got third. Actually, I didn't think he might have gotten fourth. He didn't even break 1,000 yards this year. Obviously, the Cardinals are not very good, but Malik Neighbors got second. To Brian Thomas Jr. getting almost 1,300 receiving yards as a rookie is pretty remarkable, especially on the Jaguars. So, yeah, look out for Brian Thomas Jr. next year. He's going to be a stud. And the last one, this one I thought was pretty good line, and that was Josh Allen over 500.5 rushing yards for the year, especially with what he's been doing this year. And I thought he was going to clear this by a mile, but I guess he only ended up with 483. What can you do? That's gambling. I hate you, Josh Allen. I'll hate you even more this weekend after you beat my Broncos. But who knows? Crazier things have happened, especially if you believe. But we move into the future bets. These are the more fun ones of the we got some exact order. I don't know why I thought the Bears would be better than the Vikings this year, but I did. And I told you to take at plus 600 the NFC North exact order of Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings. That did not happen. It was Lions, Vikings, Packers, Bears. So, whatever. First time ever taking one of those bets or telling people to take those. Thought they were kind of fun. I also did that for the AFC West and thought it would be Chiefs, Raiders, Chargers, Broncos. It was not. It was Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. Again, I don't know why I believed in Antonio Pierce and Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, Tyler, but we live, we learn.
I think we believed in Antonio Pierce more than anything. Less the players, more him.
We did.
Which, hey, at the end of the day, he's not on the field, so we gotta take that into account.
He's not. And Mark Davis is dating a girl way too young for him, and all he does is P.F. Chang. So everything's making sense now.
But new coaching hire will have Tom Brady in the room helping out. So
I saw that. I still think it's weird that he went to Vegas. I feel like he would have gone be an owner in Tampa or something, but whatever. That dude, whatever he wants, he's the GOAT. The next one, and I feel like a big hater now. Hopefully not a lot of Broncos fans are listening or listen to the show, because I did tell you to take Broncos under 5.5 wins. I totally drank Kool-Aid and did not think we were going to be that good. That's fine. Anyway, and also the other one, which I think we're going to quickly learn that they are fugazi. And I think people, if you've been watching the NFL, especially the end of the year, especially last week against the Lions, the last Sunday Night Football game of the year, I told you to take Vikings under 7.5 regular season wins. Obviously, I don't think anybody thought Sam Darnold was going to most likely win the comeback player of the year and play the way he's been playing. But he's starting to bite them in the butt a little bit. And they obviously finished 14-3, so that did not hit. But I think if, like I said, anybody watched that game last week and they got to go and play the Rams this week in LA, they might have a long day ahead of them.
This is a normal Vikings team. Make the playoffs. Yep. Just get into the playoffs and then lose in the first round. It's the classic Vikings. Use some random quarterback and they're going to blow it as soon as you get to the playoffs. First, second round, guaranteed.
The one that did hit the last. Oh, you said 2 more or 3 more. Excuse me. The last 3 they all did hit, which was a beautiful thing. So what did we learn here, Tyler? I think I should just stick with future player props instead of maybe win totals, but who knows?
Or exacts. Exacts are tough, man. Exacts are tough.
They
it's
are
like
tough.
Horse racing. It's like trying to get the trifecta. That's tough.
It wasn't tough knowing that the Falcons would go under 9.5 wins at plus money. I'll tell you that. Plus 120, cash by a mile. Kirk Cousins, you're a fraud. You are. You're a great con artist.
With an Achilles. Can't handle
you're a fraud.
Can't handle
that rant Tyler had. We should clip that. We should have just an episode of just clips, and we'll relive all the best clips from the show. Because that rant you had about that contract was not even a rant. It was 100% accurate. It was just like the best thing I've ever seen. I've only ever seen you do that on the phone when it's like we're talking about like Alabama this year, or like.
Don't get me started, Alabama, dude.
Yeah. Look, I'm already getting red in the face. I gotta shut up. The last 2, these 2, I take a lot of these bets personally myself, but these 2 I felt really good, and they do this thing on FanDuel where it's like Bill Simmons. If you ever listen to his podcast, he does all like what we do, and most sports betting podcasts do before the season. He has all of his best bets for whatever, but he actually gets them put on the sportsbook, which is pretty cool. And so I took 2 of those. One of them was all 4 NFC South teams to combined to win less than 30 games this year at plus 155. That cashed actually in week 17. So I got paid out early, which was beautiful. And Tyler's not going to like this one, but I loved this one. Broncos over 5.5 total wins parlayed. It was like a 2-piece special with Patriots under 4.5 wins at plus 270. That also cashed in week 17.
So you took the Broncos under 5.5, but then you took the Broncos over 5.5 parlay.
Yeah, I was just hedging everywhere. But no, I literally took because my buddy showed me that, and then I was like, oh man, I already told our loyal listeners to take the under, but I asked for taking the over, and god damn it. But anyway, so it was a good year. We had a good time. We will definitely be doing that again next year, and yeah,
I like it. I like it.
Don't bet don't bet division exact orders, people. That's what we learned today. That was ridiculous. I'll never do it. It looks so fun. And I did the same thing with the draft. I was like, oh, I'll pick the first top 5 guys.
I remember that.
No problem. And then J.J. McCarthy fucked me by not going to the freaking Chargers. And I was like, of course, why would they take him? They have Justin Herbert. There's no way. And now I see Jim Harbaugh just every game with her. He loves Justin Herbert. And I'm like, I'm an idiot, dude. I don't know why I thought he was going to get rid of him, man. Like, oh, man.
Well, speaking of the Chargers, we move in to our wild card pick'em. And now I know you wanted to maybe do something a little bit different with the whether or not they would cover. Is this correct?
I mean, we can do who's going to win and who's going to cover.
Okay. But I'm going to do this on the fly, by the way.
I can't. Okay.
I'm doing this on
You
the
can
fly.
do whatever you want. You beat me like 6 weeks in a row. That's why I'm upset. That's why I'm getting all pressed. I hate it. I'm just pulling up the spreads right now.
I'm doing this on the fly, so we're just
going
to run
Tyler,
down them.
Forever, I'm going to do a pick 'em with Tyler every year until I die. Because 1 year I got to beat him. 1 year.
This is our first year. It might be next year. Who knows?
He'll be on his deathbed. And I'll be like, hey, remember freaking 2026 when I beat you in the pick 'em that one time? Yeah, suck it, nerd. Fun in heaven.
No, anyway. You might beat me. You're going to beat me in the year. Who knows? Maybe it's next year. Maybe next year you take the cake. We should have a little trophy made up.
We could.
Pick 'em trophy. All right. Well, we're going to start off with the first game on Saturday. The Chargers versus the Houston Texans. I'm going to have to go with the Chargers on this one.
Me too.
The Texans just injured. That's
they're injured.
Biggest reason for me.
Yeah. Obviously, C.J. Stroud still has Nico Collins and Joe Mixon, which is huge. But they just I was really high on C.J. I think most people were really high on C.J. Stroud this year. Obviously, he had a phenomenal year last year. But I saw a take the other day, and I forget who it was, but they were like, last year set unrealistic expectations for how C.J. Stroud should play this year. And I was like, that's very fair. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
He has not had a terrible year, but compared to what he did last year.
Well, and you're supposed to go up a little, right? So it's like what you did last year plus.
He definitely has had a little bit of a sophomore slump, but it's also, like you said, the injuries have just been, I mean, could you imagine if he had Stephon Diggs all year? I think it would be a much different story. Yeah. And I do like the Chargers on the spread. It's only 2.5. It should be still a very close game.
Ooh, I got it at 3 here.
Maybe it's moved. I'm looking at FanDuel right now. It says 2.5. But either way, I like the Chargers on the spread. If it gets anywhere above 3, I would say maybe stay away from it. But I like Herbert. I like the Chargers. I like the way they've been playing. Their defense is uncharacteristically good, at least from what we've seen in the past, which is good, or which is crazy. And if CJ Stroud comes in and throws for 4 touchdowns and 300 plus yards and makes me shut my mouth, and so be it. But at least this year, I think it's going to be a pretty early exit for the Texans, and they gotta get healthy and regroup.
Yeah, I would agree. I like the Chargers, even at this 3 line that they got on ESPN. I think they will win by 3, to be honest. So I think this may be a push here, but the only only caveat Houston has here is it's in Houston, so
Yeah.
that could help them. But I'm gonna still take the Chargers.
Yeah.
Here right now.
Yeah.
Next game we got is Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Got to take Baltimore. I mean, I picked them.
Yeah.
I picked them to be in the Super Bowl. So now the line I have here is 9.5.
Yeah, that's a big line.
It's a big line, especially for in-division rivals.
Yeah.
They've played each other a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna. This is tough. I'm gonna say that Pittsburgh covers.
I am in the same boat, but I don't feel good about it. Mainly because they played 2 weeks ago? Yeah, 2 weeks ago 3 weeks ago. Yeah. They played 3 weeks ago in Baltimore. Baltimore won by 17.
Yeah.
That being said, Russell Wilson did finally kind of show his old roots of what he was doing in Denver. And I think a lot of people, I have no problem with Mike Tomlin. Love Mike Tomlin. He's one of the best coaches of all time in terms of consistency and has that outstanding record of never having a losing record in the regular season. But he's kind of, ever since Big Ben left, kind of do the same thing every year. Like they get a winning record, they make the playoffs, but they don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to happen again this year. Also, Lamar Jackson, as we talked about earlier, is just a freight train right now, and that offense is just absolutely humming. So we'll see. But I 10 points in a playoff game, in an in-division playoff game in January in Baltimore. I bet the weather's who knows what the weather would be. I bet it's not going to be very nice. Like, I just don't think it's going to be I'll be shocked if the Ravens win by double digits. Let's just say that. I think the Steelers will keep it close. We'll see. And my question to you is, if Russell Wilson shits the bed early, do they go to Justin Fields at all, or that's just not even in the realm of possibility?
I don't
Since
think
he
so.
hasn't
I
played
think they may
since
bring him in to do a couple of plays, but it's not. They're not just going to go over.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they do with that whole situation this offseason because obviously Justin Fields played very well for them, but he has not had a chance since early in the season. So,
yeah,
who knows?
We'll see, because he definitely wants to be starting somewhere, and there's some teams
He
that
should
can definitely
be.
use him. So,
yeah, oh yeah.
Well, we move to Sunday's first game: the Buffalo Bills versus the Denver Broncos. I'll start us off. I'd love to. Thanks for asking. I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills. And
8.5.
And I'm going to take them to cover 8.5. Yes, I am.
God damn it.
Because I don't think Denver scores more than 17 at most.
That's crazy.
And I think the Bills score 28 or more.
I'm gonna look right now to see what the total team points are.
46.5 is the over-under. Is that what you're...
Wow. You were pretty close. Broncos total team points, 18.5. Bills total team points, 28.5. No, I'm not a blind fan like many seem to believe, and I've said things. I know I have, as we all do in our lives. I am very grateful the Denver Broncos made the playoffs this year. I am. I'm glad they shocked everyone. But if this game was in Buffalo or in Denver, it'd be a different story, and I think we would have a better chance. But it is not. It is in Buffalo, and it is going to be cold. And there's nothing more that those poor people in Buffalo want besides buffalo wings. And that's a Super Bowl. And they might get it this year. They might. And Josh Allen scares the crap out of me because ever since he's gotten engaged, that dude has gone nuclear. So 8.5 seems interesting to me. But I think the Broncos will keep it close for about 2.5, maybe 3/4, and then I think eventually Bo Nix will throw a bad interception, we'll have a turnover, something of that nature, and they will capitalize. So, obviously the Broncos have had one of the best defenses in the league for the majority part of the regular season. These last 4 or 5 weeks, they've kind of petered off a little bit. And I think they averaged 30 points in 4 straight games or something of that nature. That is very concerning to me. So we'll see how long the defense can stick together and kind of hold together against a very solid Bills offense. My biggest question to you, Tyler, is who's PS2 going to cover? Because they don't have a wide receiver one. Like, he's not going to cover Shakir all night. Is he going to float? Like, I just I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't know either. That's going to be a coaching decision. Well, will I mean, depending on his personal matters, would Amari Cooper be back?
oh yeah,
It all kind of
he would.
depends.
Yeah, I forgot about Amari Cooper. That's fuck.
Yeah, it kind of all depends on how
He's
all
gonna.
that goes. I don't know what's going on with him. They're just calling it a personal issue, so
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see how that
Well,
works out.
if AC plays, PS2 should shadow him the whole game, in my personal opinion. Keon Coleman's not going to be a threat. Shakir's good. He's not that good. Like, I just don't. We'll see. But I just hope our run game can stop James Cook, because he is leading the NFL in rushing touchdowns. So,
Well,
we'll see. Could be a long day.
We will see. Could be long. We'll definitely be, I'm sure, texting through it. The next game on Sunday is Green Bay at Philadelphia at 1:30 Pacific. I took the last one. I'm gonna let you take this one. You give me what you think. I'm probably going to agree with you, but let's see.
This game, in my opinion, this is the toughest game, I think, on the whole slate to pick. Mainly because obviously we know Jordan Love's a gunslinger. I went with Philly to cover because it's in Philly. And Philly's been a great team all year, man. Phenomenal defense. Jalen Hurts, ever since A.J. Brown started bitching and moaning like the wide receiver one diva he is, he's been getting the ball more. He's been scoring touchdowns. That offense is phenomenal. Saquon Barkley obviously is a man amongst boys. But the biggest thing that I got to with taking Eagles minus 4.5 at home is that defense. That defense is a top 2 defense in the NFL, and I think it's gonna rear its ugly head not in favor of the Packers this weekend. And I think Jordan Love will do everything he can, but I think the Packers still need some growth, and their defense has got to get a little more stout before they're going to make any ridiculous playoff runs, in my opinion. So give me Eagles on the spread at minus 4.5.
I agree with you on both fronts. The reason I chose the Eagles goes back again, as it normally does for me, back to injuries. Green Bay this past weekend lost Christian Watson to an ACL tear, so he's done for the season.
Dude.
Jair Alexander was put on IR, so he can't come back unless they make the Super Bowl. And so that's their best cornerback, a top wide receiver that they have. And then Jordan Love was obviously pulled from the game for what seems to be a nerve injury, because he said he couldn't feel his throwing hand. Now, Matt LaFleur said he could have kept playing, but they took him out for precautions. I don't think that will affect him in the beginning of the game, but if he takes a few sacks, and gets his elbow hit again, we could see that same type of injury occur again. So for that reason, and the way that, like you said, Philly's been playing, Jalen Hurts is still in the concussion protocol, but everything points to him obviously coming out of that. I think they kept him into that just to be safe, because they didn't need to play him last game. So I think he'll be back for this game. Their bus score will skyrocket, and I think we'll see Philly take that win and cover that way. So we move to what I think might be the hardest game to pick, and that is the Washington Commanders at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Right now, the line that I have, at least on ESPN Bet, is Tampa Bay minus 3. It is in Tampa. This is a tough one for me, man. Both of these teams are playing well. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to take the Washington Commanders to win, and thus obviously cover, since it's Tampa Bay minus 3. I think the Commanders will win. I love Tampa Bay. I love Baker Mayfield. But they have shown to be kind of up and down this year a little bit. Where I think the Commanders, though they have some growing pains because of a rookie quarterback, even with how tremendously he's played, I think that they have been more consistent. Now that doesn't mean Tampa Bay won't come out and Baker Mayfield won't go for 5 touchdowns and who
Yeah.
knows. You just never know. That's the hard part
Yeah.
for this game for me. Kind of same with the Commanders, but I'm gonna take Washington on this one, and I'm gonna take them to cover. Obviously, since I'm taking them too.
I took as after we do this, I have a money line spread and total bet for each game, and then we'll go into the player props at the end of the show. But that is just so we get that out of the way now. That is what I took as Commanders spread. But I as well was very on the fence and kind of going back and forth. Heard a stat that the Bucks have gone 6-1 since their bye week, which is pretty remarkable. Granted, they listed all the teams that they had beaten. It was like the Giants and the Browns. They weren't notable teams, but there is something to be said for being hot at the right time, and that is what the Bucks are doing. So, like you said, Baker Mayfield could easily come out and sling for 4 touchdowns.
You just never know.
You never know.
He's kind of he's a better Jameis Winston type. Like he's going to do it more consistently than Winston, but you just never know when they're going to come out and just go ham on the field.
Yeah. And he doesn't throw nearly as many interceptions, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, if he would have stayed in Cleveland, he might have turned into a Jameis Winston 2.0, but thankfully he is not. And Baker's just a competitor. That's also a big thing too. And there's something to be said with Jaden Daniels has never been to the playoffs. So I'm sure he's tired of hearing that, blah, blah, blah. He's a rookie. But that is a big deal. So, and we saw what Baker did last year in the playoffs against, Philadelphia. They shocked Philly and blew him out. So, granted, Philly was a much different team. They're banged up, yada, yada, yada. But Baker has done it before. He's been there. He's done that. The total on this game is 50.5. I'm sure the public will be hammering that. I would stay away from the total just because I think obviously everybody's like, oh, that's an obvious bet. It's going to be just a barn burner. And then, of course, it's going to turn into like that last Sunday night football game.
10-7.
Yeah, where the public just murdered the over, and it was just a crap fest. So, but yes, I like Commanders +3. I think it will be a barn burner in terms of it'll come down to a game-winning field goal. I don't see either one of these teams getting out to any substantial lead. It should be a really good game. So, the Commanders are 12-5 straight up, and 10-6-1 against the spread in the regular season. And the Bucks are 10-7 straight up and against the spread. So these teams are very similar. Obviously, one tie away from being the same against the spread this year. So it'll be a great game for sure.
I like it. Well, we finish up with Monday night's game. We've talked about it a little bit already. Minnesota at the Rams. I'm taking the Rams here.
Me too.
We've talked about it. We both think Minnesota's fraudulent this year. Now, I'm going a little bit outside of my box here because normally I'm hey, they sucked. They're going to bounce back because they got to show the world that they don't suck. But something tells me that McVay, his squad is going to be ready. They're kind of playing better after having all those injuries early in the season. Whereas I think Minnesota, they're limping around a little bit. And they're putting a lot of faith in a QB who's done well this year, but just the pedigree isn't of the, where I think you need to be to make a Super Bowl run. So I'm going to take the Rams to upset Minnesota here. It's also in LA. So, yeah.
Yeah, Rams opening as home dogs is interesting, but also it's tough to not do that when the Vikings did have a great regular season. But as we've talked about a lot this show today, I think they're kind of fugazi. They had a great defense to start the year. Their defense has definitely petered out a little bit, maybe a lot of bit. And we'll see if Sam Darnold can rise to the occasion. We know Justin Jefferson well. We know that is a guarantee. I know that man will do everything in his power to win that game, but he catches footballs. He doesn't throw them and run an offense. So we'll see what happens. Yesterday, this line for the Rams was at plus 108. It is now at even money at plus 100. I have no doubt in my mind that the Rams will close as the favorite once this game gets to next Monday night. So if you do want to ride with me and Tyler and go with the LA Rams at home, got to pretty much get them today, or otherwise you're going to be getting into minus money, which isn't the worst thing in the world. I don't think it'll be anything too crazy. I'm sure it'll at worst turn into a 3-point swing of a spread, but this is the time to buy in on the Rams. So yeah, or it could just be a straight pick 'em. But if you want to get as most juice out of the Rams, if you believe in them like we do, I would take it right now and not wait any more seconds. So, but yeah, give me the Rams just to win straight up. I think Sean McVay's a better coach. He's been there, done that. No shade on Kevin O'Connell, but he's still pretty young. Matt Stafford obviously has been there, done that. That offense is very high-powered. I'm excited to see what Puka and Cooper Kupp do and Kyron Williams. And so are the Rams going to win the Super Bowl? Probably not, but they could be the sneaky – maybe they could be a little sneaky dark horse, and I don't think many teams want to play them. And I'm sure Minnesota obviously would have loved to get the 1 seed in the NFC and win the NFC North, but – I'm sure they were even more displeased when they saw that they had to go to SoFi and play Sean McVay and the Rams after losing that game last week. So, yeah, give me the Rams to win straight up.
There it is. There's the pick'em. We actually are on our pick'em. We picked all the same. So we're even. Should we do a tiebreaker this week? A little wild card tiebreaker.
I guess. I don't know what could we do. What should we do?
Let's do. You want to do more rushing yards? Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen? The MVP race?
Yeah, Who do you want?
I'll let you pick it. You pick whoever you want. I'll take the other. Don't over tinker.
I'm just at a crossroads because I could.
You got Baltimore versus Pittsburgh, or you could root against Josh Allen completely because he's playing Denver.
And that's what I think is going to burn me because I'm going to lose most likely already in the game, but he could win me this tiebreaker.
He could.
I'm going Lamar Jackson. Fuck Josh Allen.
You're going Lamar Jackson. All right.
Yeah.
I got Josh Allen. You got Lamar Jackson in the tiebreaker. We'll see who has more rushing yards in their wild card game. I love it. Well, let's end the show with some top bets for our listeners. Willy P, you got the floor. Start giving them the bets and making them some cash, buddy.
We've talked about some of them a little bit, but from our pick 'em, my spread and money line and total picks reflect a lot of these. I like the Chargers on the spread up to -3. If it gets anything over -3, don't touch it. But I do like the Chargers at -3. The next one, this one I would say is a very risky bet. But I'm playing into the narrative of like what we talked about earlier with a interdivision or interdivisional game. They played each other. Now this is going to be the third time this year. I like the under in the Steelers Ravens game. They went under 45.5, which is the total set right now. The last time they played in week 16. I think there will be points, but I don't think there will be as many as Vegas is predicting on the line. I think it will be a bit of a defensive grind fest. And I don't think this depends on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. It purely for me in making this pick, it depends on Russell Wilson and how he performs. So we'll see. Especially for a very run-heavy Steelers offense. They're going to have to throw the ball. And when Russell Wilson has to throw the ball, at least late in his career, he tends to not make the best decisions. So, and you will see later as well. I'll just tell it to you right now as well. You can bet Russell Wilson to throw an interception at +102. I feel very, very good about that bet. So, little two-piece special for you in that Steelers-Ravens game.
A little two-piece special.
The next one, this game, I couldn't pick against my Broncos, so I'm just going for a good old-fashioned points fest in the Broncos-Bills game. Give me over 47.5 total points at -102, close to even money. A lot of people, I think, don't think the Broncos will be able to match the Bills' offense. I think they will do the best they can. And I think the Broncos can put up over 20 points. I do think that. I think the 18.5 point total point line for them that Vegas has for them right now is a little disrespectful. Again, everything I said about Jane Daniels and having no playoff experience easily applies to Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos. But they don't know who our head coach is, and I don't even like him. But Sean Payton has been here. He's done that. I think he will scheme a much better game than many people are anticipating. Give me over 47.5 total points.
Well, that's a great bet because when Buffalo scores 42, you guys just have to score a touchdown.
Yeah. And then we all make money. And then I go home and cry into my money. So it's totally a win-win.
Hey.
Next one, Packers-Eagles. We talked about it earlier. I like the Eagles on the spread. I think the Packers will keep this close for a little bit, but I think Philly's defense will at some point show why they've been one of the best defenses in the league all year. And Saquon Barkley. So, well, that's here. Yeah, that does not need to be explained. We talked about this one also earlier. Commanders +3. We don't really need to go into that. As well as Rams money line for the Monday night game. Player props. I kind of did one player prop for each team in each game. Ladd McConkey over 5.5 receptions. Again, rookie, whatever. That dude's an absolute stud. Justin Herbert loves to throw him the ball because he hates throwing it to Quentin Johnson, as anybody should, because that dude can't catch a cold. Give me Ladd McConkey over 5.5 receptions. I think he will hit that by a mile.
If he stays healthy, he's got it, in my opinion.
Yeah. And then on the other end, Nico Collins, anytime touchdown at +135. He's kind of the last resort for CJ Stroud and also his favorite target anyway. So it's a beautiful thing. And what does Nico Collins like to do? He likes to go on the go route, and he's very good at catching deep balls. So give me Nico Collins to get in the end zone for that game. The Steelers-Ravens game, I got Lamar Jackson over 218.5 passing yards. I don't know why the books still love to give shade to Lamar Jackson in his passing game, but he's a phenomenal thrower. He had 5 touchdowns earlier this year. Granted, it was against the Giants, and they're terrible, but I think 218.5 is very low. I think, obviously, Vegas thinks the Ravens will be using Derrick Henry a lot, as I'm sure they will, but if they're going to win this game pretty handily and cover the spread, Lamar Jackson is going to have to throw the ball, and I think he will.
As long as he gets, 20 rushing yards, we're good.
Yeah, whatever. And then the other one I already told you, Russell Wilson to throw an interception at +102. I couldn't touch any other line. I have no idea what the Steelers team is going to look like. I'm sure now George Pickens is going to go crazy and have 8 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown. But I don't care. That dude's burned me so many times this year in fantasy.
He'll also have 2 personal.
His
personal conduct penalties.
Oh, yeah. He'll fight Lamar's mother or something, somehow find her. Oh, and this one I had to throw in. I do have another bet for the Ravens. This thing has been a money printer, and I feel so bad because we hated on him so hard earlier this year. I dropped him by week 4.
Mark Andrews.
And now Mark Andrews anytime touchdown, dude. That dude's a wagon, dude. He is. It breaks my heart because
I kept him. I took him out for TJ Hawkinson for 2 games, and I put Andrews back in because I was like, you just can't miss now.
Man. But Lamar Jackson loves to throw to Mark Andrews in the red zone. And the fact that this is not minus money to me is crazy, but +115, we'll take it. Broncos Bills, I got Bo Nix over 223.5 passing yards. Again, I think we're going to be playing from behind the majority of the game. We're going to have to throw the ball. 223.5 seems pretty low. That's my reasoning on that. And I have 2 for the Bills. They're 2 favorites to score touchdowns. Josh Allen to score a rushing touchdown. Dude loves to sneak his way into the box. And James Cook, who is second in the NFL in rushing touchdowns this year at -130. So maybe do a little same game, parlay those together, get some plus money out of them. But either way, I feel very good about those 2 getting into the end zone. Eagles, Packers, I love A.J. Brown to get into the end zone at +135. I think he will be a big vertical threat against like you said, weak Packers secondary who no longer has Jair Alexander. I don't even think Jair Alexander could cover A.J. Brown anyway. So give me A.J. Brown to score at +135. And the other one, this one,
Don't talk about my Louisville boy like that, by the way.
Whatever. And this one seems a little too good to be true, and I think it's because of the Eagles' front five and their defensive line. But give me Josh Jacobs getting the end zone at plus 100. I mean, he has obviously been isn't that ridiculous?
Yeah.
He's just been a workhorse for them in the red zone. So I saw that and I was like, "Holy cow! Bring out the hammer! That's ridiculous."
Was it that game? What was it, like a couple games ago, where you had him for 2+ and they just kept running some random dudes in the end zone?
Yeah, they benched him. I was like, "Oh, this is going to be a sneaky little play."
Yeah, you had like it was like the first quarter, you already had one, and then he was. I mean, they were on like the 2-yard line like a couple times, and they just didn't put him in.
It was like plus. I think it was like plus 190 or like plus 200, and I was like, "Dude, this is ridiculous! Like, I'm gonna cash out tonight." And yeah, you texted me like, "Oh, there's one," and I was like, "Let's go! Just give me one more."
That was brutal.
Oh my god! And then I don't even remember their names, but I texted you. I was like, "Who is this guy?"
Both of them are like 1 or 2-yard touchdowns. The next one,
dude. I
know.
know.
How do you not put Josh Jacobs in?
And they just panned to Josh Jacobs on the sideline, just standing there. I'm like, "What are you doing, dude? You're killing me!" My God. Anyway. Commanders, Bucks. Give me Jaden Daniels over 235.5. This number seems egregiously low for what this game should be in terms of a shootout. As well as Jalen McMillan on the Bucks to get into the end zone at plus 170. Everybody's going to be looking at Mike Evans. Everybody's going to be hammering Mike Evans to score. He probably will. Who cares? Plus 170 for Jalen McMillan. Jalen McMillan has had 7 touchdowns in the last 5 games of the year. That's ridiculous. For a wide receiver 3.
Little sneaky pick?
Sneaky, dude. Oh, man. I'm putting a lot of money on that. I'll tell you that for free. Give me Jalen McMillan to get in the end zone at plus 170. That's ridiculous. And for the Monday night game, these are 2 very cut and dry. I was thinking Kyron. I know Kyron's going to get in the end zone. The odds were not good enough for me to tell you to do it. But I love Puka Nacua at plus 105 to get into the end zone. We all know that Sean McVay loves to scheme for him, especially in big games. I bet you he touches the ball close to 20 times in this game, or at least he should, because he is that good and a game changer. And then on the other side, I already told you, we all know what one man on that purple and gold team is going to do, and that's Justin Jefferson. He's going to get in the end zone. And when it's plus 100, you hammer it. So give me Justin Jefferson to get into the end zone, and that is my final pick for the wild card weekend.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's like 12,
a lot of picks.
15, I'm thinking like 18 picks you just gave. So there's plenty of money on the line, not to mention that Willy P will be handing over some more picks for the newsletter. So make sure you lock that in, sign up for that on the website so that you can get that. Listen, great episode. Lots of money to be had. We're going to see you next week. We are going to continue talking NFL playoffs, but also start getting into more of our NBA stuff. Willy P is going to be cracking some NBA bets. We'll be talking some college hoops, perhaps, especially with what happened last night with the last undefeated team going down to Florida, Tennessee losing to them, and Kentucky losing as well. Duke looks amazing right now. We got some big games on today, including Alabama. They're playing today, and
who do they play?
So we got some games. I think they play Mississippi, South Carolina, I believe.
That should be a good game.
Yeah, I think they.
Yeah, the SEC. The SEC going into last night had. Dude, I think you guys had like 8 to 10 teams in the top 25, and like half of them lost or something. Like it was a wild. There was some carnage last night. So
UConn plays Villanova tonight as well. So there's some big games. So we'll be talking a little bit college hoops, a little bit NBA, and a little bit of NFL playoffs next week. It's going to be exciting stuff. So meet us back here. Definitely check out the website. New articles, injuries, compare pages, which everyone has loved this year. Some of our top performing content there, as well as we'll be getting more and more NBA stuff going as well. So, and check out the bets there this weekend. They will come up Friday afternoon when the injury reports come out. So make sure you check those bets out from our algorithm. We gave you the accuracy early on in this show. And we will see you back here next week. Thanks for joining us.